How to get the job you want in the Air Force. All right, so I acknowledge a little bit of clickbait has been utilized in this engagement, this video. Ultimately, I want to get the truth across. Ultimately, my goal when engaging with this channel and whatnot is to arrive at truth. And truth being the most rare form of communication in today's society. Couple things. One of the most common issues I keep hearing and reading in my comments and my DMs is concerning job listing and whether or not my recruiter is lying or stretching the rules, stretching the truth concerning the jobs that I potentially choose from and list. Ultimately, is my recruiter lying to me? And the answer could be yes and no. It could be yes or no. That's not really the issue here. I had a friend that's also going the recruiting process, and I did a little research for as far as searching the regs, because everything in the Air Force is ran by regulations. And so there's no way a recruiter can operate without, a set of business rules or, regulations that they must adhere to, especially dealing with, humanity. Because at our core, the most valuable asset to the Air Force, to the military as a whole, is the human mind. And so at no point should we be abusing the human mind or the body attached. And as you will realize, once you get to basic training, you will realize there's a ton of rules as far as touching and distance and things of that nature. Of course, all being reactive to events that happened in the past. That being said, the human mind can fall victim to misdirection and to conniving persons, those who have a mission, those who have a purpose for you outside of your control. That being said, the human mind, recruits, trainees, can lose track and lose perspective on the fact that they have a certain amount of leverage in a given process. They don't have a lot, but you have a certain amount. You are valuable, but not enough to choose for yourself in every single situation you enter as far as the recruiting process is concerned. You don't have a lot of leverage to play with. Ultimately, the recruiter is your ticket in. You have to go through the recruiter to enter the Air Force. There's no other way to get around it. And so they have leverage over you. And so with that, I keep trying to convey, via, DMs and responding to comments, that you have to learn to play the game of masterminding your way through certain processes. The human mind is undefeated against material objects. A wall will not stop the human mind. It will take a human mind to stop a human mind. Not a drone, not a robot, not a gun. A human mind must stop another human mind. That's the only way to defeat a human mind is with another human mind. That being said, enter the recruiting process as a thinker. Not someone who's running their mouth, not talking, not trying to talk your way out of it, not trying to convince them that you're so passionate about the medical field or you love computers and you want to go into finance, or I really want this career field, I really want to be a load master. Stop. Your greatest asset in the Air Force recruiting process is your ability to outthink the recruiter. And I'm not saying that like you'll win every time. No. Because the process is the process. It's been set up for a while now. But if you're willing to be patient, if you're willing to stop talking, listen with the intent to understand, not to respond. Everything's not a question. Everything does not demand a response from you. Some things just demand that you take a mental note. Listen to the recruiter's words. It's a dead giveaway of what they're thinking. It's a dead giveaway of their ultimate mission, their ultimate goal, their quota, what they're after. Listen to their words. I keep getting the same comments about how, my recruiter told me this, and they told me this, and they told me this. Well, what does that mean? Interpret what you heard. Listen with the intent to understand, not to respond. Your goal when you enter the recruiting process is to think. It's to think. I responded to a comment concerning someone who was trying to choose between the Army and the Air Force. And here's the advice I gave them. If you're going to the Army, tell them what you want. Tell them exactly what you want. Why? Because you have more leverage in the Army recruiting process versus the Air Force. And again, I'm speaking from a most general standpoint, someone who doesn't have a ton of, criminal history or any for that matter. You're not coming with a ton of baggage to the military. If you have more baggage, you're again losing leverage. You're losing leverage. They have more and more power over you, being that you're at their mercy in certain areas. But if you have a clean slate for the most part, you're coming with a clean slate to the Air Force recruiting process, the Army recruiting process, you have more leverage in the Army recruiting process, being that they realize, the Army recruiters realize that people would prefer the Air Force. It's just a given that, the Air Force is softer. It's easier. We have a higher quality of life. We have easier deployments. We have better deployments. We have better locations. It's just a fact of, the ecosystem that is the military lifestyle. So you have more leverage in the Army recruiting process. So if you go into the Army, and they have very similar jobs, if not the same, being that it's a very similar mission ran by humans. They're going to need medical staff. They're going to need, cooks. They're going to need, people that work at gyms. They're going to need pretty much the same jobs, finance. They're going to have the same jobs, just called different things. And so if you're going to the Army recruiter to see what they have available, to see what your options are, go and tell them exactly what you want. You may get it. You may get it. But if you're going to the Air Force recruiter, hush. You're a thinker when you come to the Air Force. You're a thinker. When you go to the Army, tell them. This is the job I want. I want to be a nurse. I want to be, in this career field. This is what I want. This is what I'm after if I'm coming to the Army. Yes, it comes with, different things that you may not enjoy, but you may get the career field you want. But the Air Force, hush. Hear me when I say that, hush. Don't give away what you want. You're giving away leverage. You're giving away your weakness. Don't give away your weakness. Don't let them know what you want out of this so they can hold it over your head. Why would you do that? Moving on. So, you go to the Air Force recruiter, hush. They should know almost nothing about you outside of what is on paper. The only thing you should be telling your recruiter is something that will either show up on a current urine test, a current blood test. If something's in your system right now that they test you in the next 30 to 60 days would pop up, tell them, because you're not going to get away with that. If you're going to MEPS in the next 2 months and it's in your system in the past 2 months, why would you sit on that if it's just going to pop up at MEPS? Tell your recruiter that you need a little bit more time. Be honest. You made a decision, live with the consequences. That's how life works. You make a decision, live with the consequences. Now, if you don't have to disclose it and, mercy and grace has covered you in this situation to where it may be out of your system before you go to MEPS, please be sure it will. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you're drinking water. Make sure you know what you can, what is in your power to control the situation. But if it's out of your hands, tell your recruiter. They are your ticket in. If they truly care about their job and the people that they're involved with and the people that they're advocating for, they will tell you, all right, you're going to wait a month or two before you can go to the Air Force. As far as the elephant in the room, how do I get the job that I want? How do I get the job that I want? It all comes down to leverage. If you follow me on Twitter, which is where I post a lot of my thoughts, things I'm learning in the current moment, things I'm listening to, books I'm reading. I post a lot of the quotes or things I learn on Twitter. I try to share it to the other platforms as well, but follow me there. But anyway, for those of you who know what job you want, and again, I spoke to how you should not be telling your recruiter the job you want. Even if they ask you, tell them something else. Misdirect. Misdirect. Do not trust your recruiter. I'm trying to tell y'all now. Do not trust your recruiter. They get a certain amount of trust that I portion out to them. I ration out a certain amount of trust just to keep them in line. But for the most part, they have leverage over you. Do not trust someone who has power over you. Wait till you're on equal playing field. Be self-aware. Be self-aware of the environment you're in, the hierarchy that you're a part of. Be self-aware of these type of things. It tells you how to respond in certain instances. If I'm talking to a general and I know he's wrong in this instance, I'm going to keep the leverage. Don't expose myself out in the open when he has positional power over me. I don't have enough leverage to, counteract his positional authority. Leave it be. You will lose. Leave it be. And again, the context matters. The job you want does not stop being available just because you don't get it immediately. A lot of people come into the military and all they can think about is what they want. This is the job I want. This is the career. This is the fantasy I have in my head of my military lifestyle. I'm going to come in the Air Force. I'm going to go straight into the medical field. I'm going to just put on my nice jacket or whatever uniform I'm wearing. I'm going to show up with my coffee in hand, playing my music. It's going to be a bright, sunny day. I'm going to serve my country. And then you're going to hit a brick wall because that is not real. That is a fantasy. Here's what's most likely going to happen. You're going to come in and you're probably going to get security forces. You're probably going to get personnel. Weather. You're going to get a job that the Air Force needs to be filled. What do you do when you don't get the job that you want immediately? Well, you wait. You wait. You wait. You wait. Life is very long. A lot of you cannot see past the next 30 days, the next year. Realize that you could possibly live to be 100 years old. Let's say you do 30 years in the Air Force. You still have 70 years left. What is your plan for that? People don't think that far ahead. You must learn to think in the span of a lifetime, not in a current moment. Yes, my current moment is uncomfortable, but what about the next 70 years, the next 80 years? Make decisions for the 80 years, not the current moment. Patience. So you come into the Air Force and you get a job that you do not want. Well, hopefully you signed a 4-year contract. That means you can cross-train a lot earlier than someone who signed a 6-year contract. I signed a 6-year. I have to wait 59 months to cross-train. 59 months. In hindsight, maybe I would have did it differently, but I didn't. So what do I do now? I'm in finance. I don't enjoy my job. I don't come into my job smiling. What do? I do my job. I find how this job benefits me. The schedule of this job is amazing. I have very predictable hours that do not change for the most part. I have a lot of customers, being that I can network now because I see a lot of faces. I can connect a face with the email and form relationships, by giving value and doing my job right. And then one day, maybe I'm in their shop one day and I may need help. Maybe, if we're friends outside of work and I send them a snap, I don't even got to, call ahead for an appointment. Maybe if I send a snap, they can help me. I can send them a text and they can help me. They can give me advice because we have friendship and we're not just coworkers. So I use my current job, my current position, and I excel in it to the best of my ability. So it gives me access to the next season of my life where I need to excel as well. You are not entitled to nothing in your future until you excel where you are. You're creating your future right now. So why would you think that you have access and that you deserve to be in that ideal future, that future place that you want to be in, when you are not willing to excel where you currently are? Find where you are able to benefit in your current position and then utilize that to access your future. So if you're in a job that you do not enjoy, you're in security forces or aircraft maintenance or, some foolishness or whatnot, use it. Use it. You have fresh air, enjoy it. But, do what you can. Serve. Don't get in a ton of trouble because that only hurts you. That only takes away leverage. You guys are going to know I love the word leverage. I love the concept of leverage, power, hierarchy, climbing the ladder, climbing, towards what you want. So excel where you are, serve however long it takes you to cross-train, 24 months or whatever it is, and then cross-train. Develop relationships, talk to those people around you, develop networking skills. I made a video on how to network in the Air Force, so check that out. But learn how to network and excel where you are. Find people who are in different career fields, ask them questions, ask them, what their schedule is and how it is to serve in a certain career field. And so when it comes to cross-training, you will be prepared. If I spent all my time, wallowing in how I hate finance and I hate my current job, I would not be prepared for when it's time to cross-train. My focus is on cross-training. It's not on my current position. It's not on, how miserable I am. It's on the next moment. Will I be prepared for when my moment comes to cross-train? Will I have properly researched other jobs? Do I know everything about the job I want to cross train into? Am I prepared? You are not permanently stuck in the job you're in. There are certain jobs that, you will very much struggle to get out of. I believe a lot of flying jobs, a lot of aircrew jobs, it's very difficult to leave those career fields. Most likely you won't be coming into those jobs. A lot of you might, who knows? The average job that you're coming into, the average job, open general, open, open electronic, open whatever, what have you, you can cross train. So when you come into a job you don't like, prepare for the next season, prepare for the next chapter. So when it gets here, you're ready to execute. It is a lot easier to get the job you want from the inside of the Air Force than it is to do it, during the Air Force recruiting process. It's a lot easier. Work from the inside. Surrender. Surrender. Sometimes surrendering is the best tactic to get what you want. Trojan horse mentality. What if I just walk through the front gate? Yes, I'm in shackles now, but I won't always be in shackles. I won't always be in this contract. I may meet one person during my Air Force career of being miserable that, may give me the key to the next chapter of what I truly want to do. Work from the inside. Get your foot in the door. Stop crying about, yes, I hear you. I hear you. You don't want this job. I don't want to be on the flight line. I don't want to be on the gate, scanning ID cards. I don't want to work in a hospital. I don't want to do this job. Get your foot in the door. Get your foot in the door. You have a lot more options. You have a lot more mentors. You have a lot more resources. You have a lot more answers to your potential questions from the inside of the Air Force. You have a lot more perspectives to pull from when you're inside the Air Force. A lot of you are complaining about, the Air Force and you're not even in yet. You're complaining about your job that you don't have yet. You haven't been trained on yet. You have not graduated tech school. A lot of people think that you graduate basic training and you're in the Air Force. No. You got hazed. That's it. You're not valuable until you learn your technical skill in tech school. Until they invest something into you, the knowledge or the task or, the trade. They invest that into you and then you become valuable. Now you can contribute on some level to the Air Force. Get your foot in the door. Get your foot in the door. Gary Vee said a quote that kind of stayed with me. He said, if you're not going to die tomorrow, if you're not dying next week, if you're not dying next month, play the long game. Play the long game. Stop being in a rush. People who rush into regret. People who rush into regret. Value your current position. Life is a game. It's literally a game of chess. It's me versus you. You versus me. Me versus the next person. How do I get what I want? I don't care what you want. I don't care about your job. I have to work my own job. I got to wake up my own self. I got to go my own PT. I got to train my own self. I got my own PT test, my own testing for staff and tech and E7. I have my own tests, trials. I'm at Safeway right now buying my own food. Stop expecting other people to care about what you want. Your recruiter does not care about you. Please hear me. Your recruiter does not care about your passions and your, ambitions, your goals. They have their own job, their own families, their own quotas to meet, their own regulations to follow. Do your own work, plan your own day, plan your own meal plan, your own workouts, do your own studying, do your own preparations, and hold your own self accountable. If you need to hire someone, if you need to go out of your way to, acquire a mentor or someone to help push you in the right direction, do so. Do so. Most of my mentors are virtual, the internet, YouTube, people I've never met. But what they say is correct in nature. They may not even be living it, but what they say is correct. Live this life with a direction. Learn to outthink people around you. I don't need to be stronger than you. I don't need to jump higher than you. I don't need to be quicker, faster, more agile. I can outthink you. While you're asleep, I can just ask a question, watch 10 videos, and outthink you for the next 10 years. Learn to play the long game. See your recruiter as just the first airman you've ever met. Most likely not, because you watch YouTube videos or whatever. But see the Air Force recruiter is just another E5. Now that I'm in the Air Force and I look back, it was just another E5 that, told me a couple lies, but that's cool. I'll go back and do rap, get some free leave out of that. See, your recruiter is just the first obstacle. If they win, they win. But it's a long game. It's a long game. Life is long. Years. You're talking about years, centuries, decades. Play the long game. Be patient. Know what you want. And be willing to delay gratification. Amazon built their entire company off delaying gratification and giving us instant gratification. I want my stuff today. Same day delivery. I want my stuff tomorrow. 2-day delivery. Prime. And Amazon losing money in the process for years. Losing money, investing what they do make back into their company. Delaying gratification. Just to give their customer what they wanted. That's a mastermind move. Hence why they're blowing everyone out the water. Hence why Walmart and Target cannot keep up. Walmart thought they were competing with Target. Turns out they're competing with something that did not exist yet. Amazon comes in and cleans up. Why? Because they're patient. They played the long game. Jeff Bezos was in the garage whooping everybody's ass back then. He wasn't seeing the money yet. He wasn't seeing the results yet. But now the world does. Now the world knows the name Jeff Bezos because he started back then playing the long game. Not trying to, whip the biggest Mercedes. Note to self. I'm preaching to myself at the same time. It's not a race. We're not even going in the same direction. So why am I comparing myself to you? You're not going the same direction I'm going. We don't have the same end result. We don't have the same finish line. Why are we racing? Why am I comparing myself to you? That doesn't make any sense. We're not the same. I digress. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. Be encouraged.